After watching the 50 Cent produced Diddy documentary, did it change how you viewed Suge's role at all? And people alleging that he was involved with Tupac's death?
Absolutely.
Sometimes you get away with stuff, and you, like when you hear the song on the I put $1 billion on your head. Real kid, like if you know, like and don't nobody want to nobody, and really don't let nobody know.
I mean, it's all f***ed up. It was a setup. It was a plot to my brother. I feel f***ed up about it.
This is a significant development in hip-hop history. According to 50 Cent, the FBI's investigation into Sean Diddy Combs extends far beyond his recent legal troubles. Federal authorities have been quietly building a case connected to something much more serious: the unsolved murders of Tupac Shakur and the Notorious B.I.G. In this video, we'll examine the latest revelations from key witnesses close to the case, including Diddy's former associates Kirk Burrows and Gene Deal, as well as Tupac's own family members, his brother Mopreme and cousin Jamala, both of whom had intimate knowledge of the events. Tupac and Biggie were once close friends. Both were rising stars who revolutionized hip-hop. Tragically, both were killed at the height of their careers, just 6 months apart. Now, individuals who were present during that era are finally speaking out. Tupac's cousin, former Bad Boy artist Mark Curry, retired LAPD detective Greg Kading, and even a former Crips gang member have all shared pieces of the same narrative. According to Kirk Burrows, co-founder of Bad Boy Entertainment, Diddy was allegedly responsible for orchestrating the shooting that claimed Tupac's life. For decades, no arrests were made. The case became an urban legend, inspiring countless documentaries and investigations. But now, the FBI appears to be closing in on answers. The breakthrough came in 2023 when Dwayne Keith D was indicted for Tupac's murder. Former LAPD detective Greg Kading made a chilling statement in a documentary. It's really Keith D and Puffy Combs who are the last men standing. During recorded sessions with investigators, Keith D made explosive claims. He alleged that approximately 1 year before Tupac's death, Diddy stood before a group of Crips gang members and openly expressed his desire to see both Tupac and Suge Knight killed. Keith D further claimed that Diddy subsequently offered $1 million to make it happen.
Diddy claims that there is this ongoing conversation. It happens on 3 different occasions. But most specifically when he and Puffy are at this place called Greenblatt's Deli on Sunset. And they're there. Things have spiraled out of control. Puffy's really concerned about, you know, the welfare, his safety. And he tells Keefy D, man, I just need you to take care of this situation with Suge and Tupac. It's out of control. You know, Tupac's on vinyl talking about kill kids when they grow up, and you know, it's just become this really serious conflict. And he says, I just need you to take care of him. And Keefy D's like, that's no problem. You know, that's what we do. And so an agreement was made, according to Keefy D, for an amount of money. And they kind of just let it go at that point in time. But of course, Keefy D knows in the back of his mind, this is what Puffy wants done. And they all end up out in Las Vegas. Suge's out there.
Well, before you say that, there's a couple things I want to talk about about Vegas. So when you say that Keefy got offered an amount of money, according to him, was there a dollar amount?
Yeah, so there was a dollar amount. But I think that, you know, the nuances of this conversation are that, like, man, I'll give you $1 million, whatever it takes. You know, it's like exaggerated speech. But of course, when we interview Keefy D, he's like, yeah, that's what the agreed amount was, $1 million.
So according to Keefy, he's claiming that Puffy offered him $1 million to Suge or Tupac?
Both
or
of them.
Both.
Yeah, both their names came up. And according to Keefy D, he says, you know, Tupac's put himself on the list by all the shit.
The recorded evidence doesn't end there. Keith D also discussed a firearm concealed in a vehicle connected to Eric Von Zip Martin, a man described as an influential figure with close ties to Diddy. Tupac's brother stated that both Von Zip and Diddy should have been investigated, particularly if Von Zip provided Keith D with the weapon used in the shooting.
Yeah, I can see how Pac felt like they had something to do with the setup, man. But speaking of Puffy, right, how do you feel about the rumor that Puffy, he gave a guy named Eric Von Zip a check for $1 million to give to Keith D to kill Tupac?
I'm familiar with the story. I'm familiar with the dude. My man Big Psych, rest in peace, used to know that dude.
So you met Von Zip before. So how does that make you feel, man? Somebody that you met, and I'm sure that he knew that she was Tupac's brother. How does that make you feel knowing that he's the one that provided Keefe D with the gun to Tupac?
I mean, it's all f***ed up. It was a setup. It was a plot to my brother. I feel f***ed up about it. I don't know that nigga, but I ain't got no love for none of them. You know, straight up. It sounds like a typical plot. See, but considering who that guy is to Puffy and to Keefe D, for it not to be addressed is weird. We will see.
He is doing.
Burrows' journals suddenly become critical evidence. Just days before Tupac was killed, Burrows documented that Diddy requested him to rent vehicles for a road trip from New York to Las Vegas for the Mike Tyson fight. That request was unusual. Flying would have been far more practical and efficient, but Burrows followed the instructions and meticulously documented everything. He recorded dates, expenses, and routes. Those handwritten entries are now featured in the documentary evidence. According to sources, the FBI may be utilizing those very notes as part of their ongoing investigation into Diddy's potential involvement.
Security, Gene Deal, who was there to secure Puff, all the other warnings that we got that we needed more security, the snafu in the business world came in like this. You have a budget for everything that you do. The budget for Big in LA for the awards show ended that Friday night, Saturday morning, when a new budget started to get him from LA to London, where he would be taken care of with security, his friends, and everyone that he wanted to be with him in the style that he was accustomed to handle the press junket. When that didn't happen, that budget was never opened. The budget for LA ended, and there was a great need for security that Saturday night, and he was out without that security. The beef up. And we lost him. And in that decision, what it put us in, that decision put us in the worst situation that we could have ever been in. We lost our number one talent. We're on a West Coast where we're surrounded by enemies who told us not to be here. We really shouldn't have been there, but we were. Now we have to get out of there.
Just after midnight, Biggie left the party. At a red light, a vehicle pulled up alongside his SUV. Shots rang out. Biggie was struck multiple times and later pronounced dead at the hospital. He was only 24 years old. Following Biggie's death, unusual circumstances began to emerge. Reports indicated that Biggie had been planning to leave Bad Boy Records. Legal disputes over his publishing rights quickly followed. Rather than Biggie being memorialized, Diddy appeared on the covers of major magazines. Just 2 months after the tragedy, Diddy released I'll Be Missing You, a tribute song that became a global phenomenon. His debut album followed shortly after and achieved multi-platinum status. Years later, Diddy publicly acknowledged that Biggie's death significantly increased his own fame and success. That admission raised serious questions. However, the concerning pattern extended beyond that single incident. Over the years, multiple individuals closely connected to Diddy reportedly became ill, were silenced, or died under unexpected circumstances. Allegations emerged, lawsuits were filed, stories surfaced, then mysteriously vanished. Now, Gene Deal, a longtime Bad Boy insider and former head of security, suggests that the upcoming Keefe D trial could expose everything, particularly due to the defense strategy Keefe D is employing. According to Gene, Keefe D's defense is straightforward. He claims that the order to kill Tupac originated directly from Diddy.
There's no physical evidence that Keefe D or has something to do with Pac's death. There's circumstantial evidence. There's people that could probably testify on what somebody told them or heard. So now, Keefe D lawyers and them did a great job when they did trial by judge. Because the judge is looking for physical evidence. What ties Keefe D to Puff? What ties Keefe D to the Tupac? And how could they prove that either one of them has something to do with it? Somebody would have to get on the stand and say that I saw him, he told me, and they want to have to believe them. So, do they believe Keefe D? If he told a lot of different stories, you got to realize he may have told more than one or two stories, because he tell that story now. What about the stories he told prior to this? You understand what I'm saying? So you're going to look at that. You're going to look at, okay, did he get the money? Where's the money at? Who got the money? Who wrote the check? Who paid the money? Where did it come from? When did it come from?
Gene points out a crucial detail. There's no physical evidence placing Keefe D at the scene as the shooter. What exists instead are statements, secondhand accounts, and claims about conversations that allegedly occurred. That's precisely why Keefe D's legal team pushed for a bench trial instead of a jury trial. A judge evaluates hard evidence and factual proof, not emotional testimony or speculation. So the critical questions become unavoidable. What directly connects Keefe D to Tupac's murder? For one, Keefe D himself has publicly admitted to being involved in Tupac's killing. In multiple interviews and his own memoir, he confessed to orchestrating the attack, though he claims he wasn't the actual shooter. He stated that someone from his vehicle fired the fatal shots that night in Las Vegas. However, his defense now appears to be shifting the focus. By claiming he was acting on orders from a higher authority, specifically Diddy, Keefe D's legal strategy may be attempting to reduce his culpability while implicating others in the conspiracy.
Keefe D's claim was an informant in 1997 who told investigators that Puffy had hired the Southside Crips to kill both Suge and Tupac, and that the Crip who was jumped at the MGM was in the group that had done the hit, and that they originally were going to do it at Suge's Vegas nightclub, but then decided to do it right away instead of waiting. This was exactly the same story that Keefe D told us a decade later. Very few people know that immediately after Tupac is shot and that white Cadillac is fleeing, one of the death row entourage, a guy named Alton McDonald, known as Buntry, chases after the Cadillac, and a second shooting takes place between the two vehicles. Alton McDonald's car is struck. In fact, within the Las Vegas files, there's a document that indicates that Alton McDonald's car had been struck by a bullet that night.
Yeah, and he even said that, like, in retrospect, that was probably the best thing that could have ever happened to Puffy. By Zip stealing the money, now Puffy isn't connected to that shit. Or else it would have been like a murder for hire or something, you know what I'm saying?
The FBI said it was just Zip.
So the FBI told you the same
he was
thing.
the dirty motherfucker, yeah.
So the FBI told you that Zip kept that money as well.
They said Zip's the dirty motherfucker. Everybody crossed you. You're the last one to know everything. Even lawyers, your friends, everybody can cross your ass.
Gene says the only way this case truly comes together is if credible witnesses take the stand and testify, I heard this conversation, I witnessed this exchange, I know where the money originated. But even that presents significant challenges. Keefe D has told multiple versions of his story over the years. When a key witness changes critical details, prosecutors must re-examine every previous statement. They face the burden of explaining why this current version should be believed over earlier accounts, which undermines credibility. Gene argues that if investigators could prove a financial trail showing that money moved from Diddy through intermediaries and ultimately reached Keefe D, and if the individuals involved corroborate that account under oath, then the entire case transforms. Documentary evidence of payments combined with witness testimony could provide the proof needed for criminal charges. Gene has consistently maintained that Diddy and Tupac were not on good terms during that period. This claim has recently been corroborated by Tupac's cousin Jamala who was close to Tupac and witnessed the deteriorating relationship firsthand.
So I run into Suge. Pac Pac had to fight with Orlando Anderson. He come upstairs to the hotel room. First of all, when we get to Vegas, right, he flipped on me. He like, yo, move. Cause I'm thinking when we get to Vegas, we're gonna turn up, it's gonna be all lit. But once we get there, he turned on me. Like, nah, Moo, I don't want you coming out. You and Kadada stay in the hotel and so forth. So I'm feeling the way. I'm like, oh, shit, ain't this, like, how you gonna bring us out here? Now we gotta stay in our rooms. So I'm rebellious, right? So I'm being rebellious, right? So Shook Pop comes in the room. He's talking about how he just knocked out some dude. I don't know who the dude is. I didn't know later that this is Orlando Anderson, the head of the Crip and all this crap. You know what I mean? So when Pop come in the room talking about it, I'm like, oh, word, say word, Pop. So he changed. That's when he changed from the orange button-up shirt that he had on, and he put on the green, like, basketball jersey type of shirt, right? So at this point, he's looking for the outlaws. He don't know where they at. And he's telling me and Kadada to chill in the room. That, everybody is there outside, they wildin'. It's Robert Wayne time. And again, showing his protection for us, he recommend that we stay in the room. But I came out the room anyway and ran into Suge. And when I ran into Suge in the elevator, he in there with his girl, right? So I'm like, yo, Suge, I know you heard how Pop knocked out homie. And before I could say homie, Suge gave me the silent, he put the finger on his lips to silent me. So that already gave me like, oh, let me tone it down a notch.
Looking back now, she believes he may have been trying to protect her, warning her without words that danger was imminent. She also vividly recalls how Tupac behaved that night, full of adrenaline, loud and intense, yet still deeply protective. He instructed her and Kadada Jones to stay in the room for their safety. Kadada, his fiancée at the time, remained calm and composed, supporting him without escalating the tension. Jamala confirmed something many people doubted for years. Tupac genuinely planned to marry Kadada. He had concrete plans for homes, starting a family, building businesses, and creating a future beyond Death Row Records. Tupac desperately wanted out of that lifestyle and environment. He envisioned a different path, one focused on growth, stability, and leaving the violence behind. But tragically, he never got the chance to realize those dreams.
This could be a week or two prior to us going to Vegas, right? So we in the kitchen, and Pac is on the phone. I'm in the kitchen, Pac is in the kitchen, and the outlaws, everybody's scattered throughout the house, but Pac is on the phone, and this is what I seen with my own eyes. And Pac is going bananas, yo. He's wilding out. He's cussing out Death Row. Whoever, he didn't say, he just on the phone with somebody from Death Row camp. And he's going bananas. And all I hear him saying and screaming out is his masters, his masters. Yo, my brother's head was sweating. He had veins popping out his neck, his head. He was at 10. And at that moment, I was scared. You know why? Because I thought that death was coming to the house to knock us all out. You know what I mean? Because again, we're in California. We're around amongst people that we're not quite understanding their culture, their gang lifestyle and stuff, you know what I mean? Again, we're New Yorkers. I certainly don't understand it. So I was a little afraid, I must admit, and I thought that death was coming to the house to knock us all out, straight up.
And so when you see Tupac on the phone, had you ever seen him like that before?
No, not like that. Nope. Not like where his veins is popping out his neck and out his bald head. No. Not that angry. And that's what scared me because of the anger, the rage that he was pouring out. You know what I mean? And it was like I was just standing there stiff. I didn't even want to walk past him while he's on the phone. It's like, let me just stand here until he get off the phone, because he was, like I said, he was at 10 and he was pissed off.
Was he targeted because he planned to leave Death Row Records and establish a rival label to compete with Bad Boy? It's certainly a compelling theory, and one that his own cousin appears to believe. These aren't allegations from individuals seeking paydays or fame. These are credible accounts from people who were intimately close to the situation and had first-hand knowledge of the events. Perhaps some of the most damning accusations against Diddy come from one of his former artists, Freddie P. He publicly stated his belief that Diddy was involved in Tupac's death. Freddie P., who was signed to Bad Boy Records through the group The Band, has been vocal about his experiences with Diddy and has questioned the circumstances surrounding both Tupac and Biggie's murders. His statements carry weight because he worked directly under Diddy and witnessed the inner workings of Bad Boy Entertainment during a critical period in hip-hop history.
Do you believe that Diddy has something to do with Tupac?
Anybody with common sense, no. Anybody with common sense, no. It's kind of like the John Gotti situations, right? So Gotti kept for so long, we knew who Gotti truly was. The Paul Castellano situation, that's his name, right? You know who took out the boss. Carmichael, I think that's his name, whatever. You know, but you can't prove it. We know of Puffy indiscretions. We knew he killed Tupac. It didn't make sense for nobody else to kill Tupac. And for so many years, so many people tried to spin the narrative and was saying it was Suge, but if you was in the streets, you knew it wasn't Suge. Because if you in the streets, you're gonna know somebody that knows somebody from that side who's reputable, whose word that you can trust and honor. They gonna spread the word. So we knew that it wasn't Suge because of what we heard Suge went through after. If you know, you know. Like, if you don't, you don't. So Suge basically was affected by the Tupac shit real bad. You get what I'm saying? And he loved him like a brother. And I don't really think Suge probably loved nobody else like he loved Tupac. And I'm gonna keep it real. That's the way it was brought back to me. From street inside a car in LA. So, so many things that transpired since the Tupac situation, so many people's lives been affected, and Puffy just went on about his business.
Freddie P. then references lyrics and archived audio moments that people overlooked for years. He states, "Sometimes the truth is hidden in plain sight, but you have to really listen closely." He suggests that clues were embedded in songs, interviews, and public statements all along, waiting to be deciphered. According to allegations that have circulated for decades, financial motives were at the center of it all. Multiple sources claim that substantial payments were made to facilitate the attack. The question has always been, who authorized those payments, and can the money trail be traced back to its source?
Sometimes you get away with stuff, and you, like when you hear the song on the I put $1 billion on your head. Real kid, like, you know, like, and don't nobody want to kill nobody, and really don't let nobody know. Like, you want to tell somebody, your son, your brother, somebody, even if you got to keep it G, and the streets can never find out. You want somebody to know. And when you hear the ad-lib, you see it turned down, you had to turn it up and single it out, and you heard it. I put $1 million on your fucking head. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all, which was the accusations that is the money that he paid Zip, right? If I'm not wrong, the money that he paid Von Zip was the money that Keith. Only reason Puffy is not locked up is because Von Zip stole the money, which at the time seemed like a creepy thing, but came back to save Puffy's fucking life, because the motherfucker he was willing to pay turned out to be a rat years later, and that would have bit Puffy all in the ass. But see, let me tell you something I do know, and it's from me to any street nigga. Them souls do not rest. And that's what I want to tell Puffy, Boosies, all the people we know. They don't rest, bro. You see, shit just won't get right up. We just got so, that day you just waiting on that knock on the door because them souls don't rest, bro. And we was misled, a lot of us was misled to hurt each other and be, be kingpins and guns and gangsters.
Now it appears that Keefe D's trial in August will attract unprecedented attention from the public, media, and investigators alike. This could be the moment when decades of speculation finally meet courtroom scrutiny. We will be covering the trial extensively, bringing you all the latest updates, testimonies, and developments as they unfold. Will you be following the trial? What are your thoughts on these allegations? Let us know in the comments below.